Hello guys, Robin here from @Miller, and this is just a quick video to go over a API client library that we've created in .NET in order to access Moneyhub's open banking APIs. So Moneyhub are a platform that allow access to the open banking ecosystem, allowing businesses to have access to the open banking features without having to deal with the complexities of the open banking's implementation or the legislation. So what we've done is we've just created the interface definitions and all the models in .NET that can be used in conjunction with Reactive UI refit to allow access to these APIs, removing the need to do a whole bunch of boilerplate code and hopefully making getting up and running with these APIs a lot faster. So if we take a look at Moneyhub's APIs, so this is their Swagger UI definitions. So they have two main APIs, their Identity API and their Data API. We won't cover the relationship between the two in this video. Obviously it has its own security considerations and things like that, but we won't go into that in this video. Moneyhub's documentation on this is really good, and that'll be linked in the description below. So as you can see, just in the Identity API there's quite a few functions, and in the data one there's even more, allowing a whole raft of access to different data points. So what we've created is just definitions that sits over both of these services, and hopefully allows you to get up and running and accessing this good stuff much faster. So if we take a look, so as I said, all the library defines is the APIs such as these in the two different areas, identity and data, and their associated models, both requests and responses, and any data models. Again, this is to help remove any boilerplate code you'd need to do and hopefully get you up and running faster. But by using refit, try not to be too prescriptive and allow you to sort of configure the HTTP client exactly as best suits your project. So we have created a sample project just to demonstrate how you can get up and running, and obviously there's not much code in order to get access to these. Now, the one thing before this will work is there is some setup required in Moneyhub's admin portal. So you'll need to register with Moneyhub and create a client. The client sort of defines your application or service that will use their APIs. When you do that, you'll get a client ID and a client secret. They're used in conjunction with the identity service in order to generate tokens of various scopes, which then in turn can be used to access their data APIs. We won't go into detail as to the relationship and the security model with these APIs, but it is important. You need to consider where the client ID and secrets is kept and that relationship. Again, Moneyhub's documentation is really good on this, and that will be linked below. So just to go over registering two different interfaces. So here, this is registering the access token interface, which is the service that can be used to create tokens of various scopes, which can then be used to access different data. So in order to make this work, all you'd need to do is configure the base address to the Identity API endpoint. We've then also provided a utility class here that you can just give your client ID and your client secret. It will then produce your authentication token in the right format, allowing this to work and generate tokens of different scope. For the data interfaces, it's slightly easier. All you need to do is provide the base address of Moneyhub's data API. The tokens will be passed into each subsequent call, because obviously the tokens need to be generated with the correct scope before that can be done. So just to show the interfaces, the token, access token, and the accounts, and then here we're making a call to get access token. Obviously there's some parameters, the grant type, the scope as I mentioned before, and the sub is a user that I pre-created in Moneyhub's backend that already has some data and banks authorized with it, so we can get some good data back. So once we get that back, we'll get a token back with the right scope that allows us then to pass to the data API accounts get all, which will then hopefully pull back some useful data. So if we just run that so we can inspect the difference. Again, the detail about how the scopes and all those sorts of things, how they all hang together, it's not something we'll cover, but it is important. And again, Moneyhub's documentation on this is pretty fantastic. So as we can see here, the response we got back from the access token has given us a bearer token, which we can then pass into the get all accounts here, which then the response from this, we have some data, and there is our bank data that we have set up in the back end of Moneyhub. So that is basically it. Again, it's just a library to sort of hopefully save you some time. For any more information, do see Moneyhub's documentation. It's pretty fantastic. All of this will be available in a GitHub, which should also be detailed below. And yeah, hopefully this will save you some time in your development.